Hey everyone, John Raridan here for Nintendo World Report with some very quick technical impressions of Mario vs. Donkey Kong on Nintendo Switch. As you've likely seen by now, Nintendo has released a short 4-stage demo for Mario vs. Donkey Kong ahead of its full release later this month. I always love demos like this because unlike a preview event or something like that, we can take plenty of time to capture all the footage we want, specifically with tech in mind. Now, this isn't exactly a game that is pushing the late-era Switch to its limits, but I gotta say, it's a very nice-looking game, so let's put some numbers on exactly what we're looking at here. To start, resolution is, to put it simply, a best-case scenario, at least based on these 4 stages. All 4 came out to a full 1920 by 1080 when docked, and 1280 by 720 in handheld mode. Both of these are, of course, the maximum output resolution for either of those display modes, so literally the best we could possibly hope for. I saw no evidence of dynamic resolution across these stages, but technically it is still possible that it could crop up in later environments if they're significantly more demanding, but personally I don't really expect it. But the good news doesn't stop there. We are also looking at a full 60 frames per second update in both docked and handheld mode. Once again, the maximum output for the platform. I didn't notice any frame dips while playing, but just to double check, I did go ahead and run the entire demo through our frame rate testing software, and as expected, we got consistent performance throughout. No drops to speak of. Like resolution, of course, this is a very small sample in the context of the entire game, so it's possible that some later areas could throw in some complex alpha transparencies or something of the sort that could affect performance, but what we've seen so far makes me believe we really shouldn't have any concerns. Now, I'm sure many of you are looking at this game and thinking, yeah, it's a simple 2D game, these metrics aren't that impressive. But when we're looking at a game like this, you have to remember that, yes, while we're interacting with it as if it's a 2D game, ultimately the screen is still full of 3D geometry, real-time shadows, and nicely detailed textures. Character models look highly detailed, especially Donkey Kong, with some pretty dense shell textures used to give the impression of 3D fur. Due to the limited scrolling in the demo levels, I couldn't quite tell if the distant background was geometry or some layered up 2D renders, or maybe a combination of both. It definitely has some 3D parallax when the camera moves, but it may still be a series of 2D images. We may be able to tell more clearly from some of the later levels once we have the full game. Now, I know there are some concerns about things like Mario's apparent lack of fall damage, even on classic difficulty, and changes to the scoring system. But to be honest, I don't want to base too much of that sort of assessment off of a 4-level demo. I'd rather wait until I have the full game in hand. Instead, I hope you'll subscribe and look forward to our full review shortly after launch. In the meantime, I'm very pleased with how this looks to be shaping up on a technical level, and I can't wait to try out the full game. If you've enjoyed this very short video, let us know down in the comments, and once again, consider subscribing so you don't miss any further coverage from us on Mario vs. Donkey Kong or anything else Nintendo. If you'd like to chat with us about anything Nintendo related, you can head into our Discord using the link in the description. And as always, you can check out NintendoWorldReport.com for a whole lot more. Once again, my name's John Raridan, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. This video was made possible by our generous supporters on Patreon. Did you know that Nintendo World Report is funded directly by fans like you? When you support Nintendo World Report on Patreon, you get immediate access to multiple exclusive podcasts every month, exclusive Discord channels, an early look at select content, and more, all for as little as $1 a month. Check out patreon.com/NWR for all the details.